delighted to have the opportunity to obviously present something today while you're hopefully all eating your lunch or your dinner or your breakfast, depending on your location. So it gives us a great pleasure today to introduce Rudolf Grotz, who is going to present us a talk on on-demand agile workplace learning. Myself and my colleagues in the committee at STG are all obviously very keen learners and interested in what the different patterns and opportunities are for learning in organisations, especially as Agile becomes the chosen discipline for delivering technology, and continuous learning is a key part of that. So through analysis I'd done previously in research, I bumped into what Rudolf had done for Raiffeisenbank, which was just fascinating and really interesting. And I think it's something that we'll probably all take something away from today that I think is hopefully really valuable for how you all apply workplace learning as well. So I think in terms of the agenda today, it's around about a 30-minute presentation, Rudolf, and then we'll
Yes.
have a 10-minute Q&A session. Please post any questions in the chat channels and we will pick those up and we can put them to Rudolf at the end. Maybe from one of the other co-hosts, if my accent proves difficult for Rudolf again, but overall we'll certainly make sure we use that 10 minutes wisely to answer the key questions you've all asked in the chat. So enough from me, I think, unless there's anything I've missed in terms of agenda. If not, I will very gratefully hand over to Rudolf to present his talk today. Thank you, Rudolf.
Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so then, and ladies and gentlemen, so, well, here we go. So, yes, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my talk about the learning evolution in Raiffeisenbank International. So, Greg, thanks for having me. So, to the audience, happy lunch learning. Open your lunchbox, sit back and learn. So, well, Darwinism, you know, the theory from Charles Darwin that not the strongest survive, rather they who can adapt faster. What does this mean in the context of learning? We must learn new things faster and when we need it, meaning just in time. In other words, the digital Darwinism and the VUCA world require lifelong learning and adaptive learning strategies. In the following 13 minutes, I will explain how we at Raiffeisenbank International, short RBI, transformed our IT delivery division towards this self-paced lifelong learning. So, who am I? My name is Rudolf. I'm an Agile engineering coach at Raiffeisenbank International, and here I'm helping our development teams in using appropriate Agile engineering practices like DevOps, cloud, test automation, and so on. And I'm a learning guide, and in this role, I'm supporting our colleagues to find the best learning approach. And I implemented during the last years in RBI the Agile Workplace Academy and this Agile learning approach. I'm also the guild lead for our test and test automation community of practice. And I'm also the organizer of the Agile Test Automation Meetup Group Vienna with more than 1,400 members and organizing 6 times per year the so-called Test Busters Night. And today in the evening, we have a Test Busters Night. I will tell you something about this at the end. And if you want to contact me, you can do this via LinkedIn. Let me tell you more about Raiffeisenbank International that you know the context. Yeah. So Raiffeisenbank International is a traditional bank with over 100 years of history. And we consider Austria and Central Eastern Europe as our home market. And currently we have a network banks in 13 CEE countries. In Austria, we are a leading corporate and investment bank for the top 1,000 commercial customers, and we have around 40,000, around 50,000 employees, and a customer base of around 70 million customers. So, Raiffeisen Bank International, as I said, a traditional conservative bank is going through an agile transformation. And we use a very nice metaphor in our organization for that. We're moving away from this big, slow, ruled by command and control container ship towards this agile, self-organized speedboats. And agile is our basis for remaining competitive in a fast changing environment, better known as the VUCA world. We started our transformation 6 years ago, and now we have around 500 speedboats with around 4,000 employees working in agile teams. And all of them must learn new things at high speed to steer the speedboats through the rough banking business sea. And therefore, we need a new learning approach. Why we need a new learning approach? As I already said, we are living in a VUCA world, which represents our new business reality. And VUCA stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. It is a world in which you never know what to expect. Business in the VUCA world means that companies compete in an environment that is characterized by continuous, fast, and unpredictable development. And one of the most important ways that knowledge workers can interact with the VUCA world is through continuous learning. And allowing employees to learn in action, to learn during their daily work, is key in the VUCA world. In RBI, we have different possibilities to learn new skills and competencies. From the traditional perspective, we have the individual trainings. That means if you find a training you consider relevant for yourself, you can go to your manager and hopefully you get the permission. Then we have our learning management system. The learning management system, there we have learning offerings which are maintained and organized centrally by our HR and learning department. This is more business related, soft skills, standard IT skills, and all this stuff. And then, of course, we have a high potential program, and this is a structured program designed to find talented employees who have high potential to grow. And then, last but not least, we have the Go IT Academy. And this is the initiative maintained by our IT division, by my division where I'm working. And this is really IT related skills. And here we have programs with a fixed content, with a fixed schedule, and all this in a classroom style. The focus of learning in the VUCA world cannot longer be the HR centrally controlled education program with its formalized qualification offerings, be it face-to-face or virtual. Learning is more. And here we have the 70-20-10 framework, and this provides a good orientation. And this model says we have learned approximately 70% of what we know and can do through our work, in particular through new tasks, challenges, crises, and changes. Approximately 20% we learn through meeting and interacting with others, with colleagues, with customers, and so on. And then we learn around 10% through formal learning opportunities. These are seminars, qualification programs, or structured online courses, and so on. And you can see which of these parts are generating the best impact with the lowest cost. Sorry. Yeah, so And we at RBI answered VUCA and this 70-20-10 model with two new approaches. The first is the Agile Workplace Academy, and the second are the Agile Learning Guides. The Agile Workplace Academy brings together learning and work. The goal is to overcome practical day-to-day challenges. The Workplace Academy enables our colleagues to solve concrete problems that they are facing during their individual daily work. On the other hand, the learning guides help the learners to find their individual learning journeys. Agile learning is characterized by two aspects. The first is the performance problem. The second one are the learning formats. Agile learning in the VUCA world is considered as performance support and primarily serves the purpose to solve problems and challenges during the daily work rather than accumulating knowledge. We speak here of learning and applying and not learning and storing for later. After all, the actual purpose of Agile learning is to enable employees to continuous improvement, or in other words, to do an excellent job. So, what could be a typical performance problem in an Agile development team? Imagine a team comes up in the retrospective with, we need automated tests, but we do not have the skills to do it. This is a typical performance problem because the team cannot do their daily job, they cannot perform. And what could be the solution? Yeah, so imagine the team agreed that Diana, the manual tester, and Max, the Java developer, should start in automating tests. The plan is to start with web automation in Java. But Diana and Max have no idea how to do this. In a traditional approach, Max and Diana would go to the learning management system, search for the right training, and hopefully there is one. Check if the dates fits the schedule, register for it, and then wait for confirmation or to be added on the waiting list. In our Agile approach, we give Max and Diana the opportunity to create their own learning journey, their own learning experience to learn at their own pace and along their own path. If they want, we even provide learning guides for them to support them on the learning journey. Learning, which should solve a performance problem, has to be close to the workplace. And therefore, we need learning formats that enables individual self-organized learning. The classic face-to-face classroom training, alone is not longer enough. This is a blended learning approach. The RBI Workplace Academy is based on this idea of this blended learning approach. And when we talk about blended learning, we mean that we have a combination of learning formats that enables our colleagues to learn at their own pace along their own path. And this goes from a singular learning event, so where you have tomorrow a training, and the next week and so on, to a learning process, to continuous learning. And the thing here is work and learning moving closer together in terms of content and time. This is not separate anymore. The combination of different learning formats allows for more flexibility and individualized learning. And to strengthen this effect of the Workplace Academy, we paired it with the support from our Agile learning guides. To make it clear, the goal of the Workplace Academy is not to acquire certifications or to stockpile knowledge. The aim of the Workplace Academy is to master practical challenges from everyday's working life and to combine learning and work. And to implement this blended learning, this work-based learning, we created a new learning architecture. And this architecture is not only for test and test automation, you could use it for every other topic too. We use it also for DevOps things, for cloud, for security, and so on. And the first pillar in our architecture are the learning topics. From the test and test automation perspective, we have the topics test engineering, we have test automation foundation, we have test automation adapters, and we have test automation development. The test automation adapters is here you learn the things what you want to automate, a web UI, an API, a mobile, a desktop, infrastructure, whatever. Test automation development then brings together the adapter with a programming language. Here you learn how to automate a web UI via Java or via C#, JavaScript, whatever. And then we have learning subtopics. As an example, Test Automation Foundation has the subtopics test methods, test automation frameworks, and CI/CD DevOps. And then, of course, we have these competence levels, which is basic, advanced, and expert. And next we have learning elements, and these are our trainings. And a learning element could be an e-learning course at Udemy, at Pluralsight, at LinkedIn. It could be an RBI training. It could be a recording from an already delivered GoIT Academy training. It could be an article in a blog. It could be a book, an article on a website, a YouTube video. It could also be a one-to-one peer session with a learning guide, or with the learning coach. And then we have the key element, and the key element are the learning journeys. A learning journey has a learning outcome. That is a competency which you want to achieve at the end of your journey. The goal is not that you go to that you learn something new. The thing is, that you learn something new, what you can use at the end because it is necessary for your work. And as an example, this is the learning outcome for our test automation journeys. The learner can develop automated basic tests with Java, JavaScript, C#, whatever, for a given adapter. A learning journey has a begin and an end, and it supports the learner to solve his or her performance problem. In practice, however, such an approach does not always do justice to the complexity of blended learning, because depending on the role and the competence of the learner, there can be different starting points and different learning elements. But the impact is always the same. It can solve his or her performance problems. And to handle this diversity, we have the last brick in our learning architecture, and this is the learning path. Remember Diana, So what would be the learning outcome for Diana? Diana can develop automated basic tests with Java for a web UI. The learning outcome for Max would be Max can develop automated basic tests with Java for web UI. The tricky thing here is that Diana and Max would have different learning paths. As I said, a learning path is an individualized learning journey. Max and Diana have the same learning journey, but different learning paths. And I would say it is easier if we take a look at the learning path with an example. Remember Diana. Diana a test engineer with no development skills and no test automation skills should automate web UI tests with Java. What would be Diana's learning path? Diana would start with test automation foundation, followed by test automation adapters and test automation development for Java UI. Diana do not need test engineering in the left upper corner because she's a tester. Yeah, she knows everything about testing and has this knowledge. So, how the learning path for Max could look like. Remember, Max is a Java developer with no testing skills and no test automation skills, and Max should automate web UI tests with Java. This is the same learning outcome as Diana, but the way differs because Max has another skill set. So what is the difference? Max would need more or less the same as Diana. Test automation foundation, test automation adapters, test automation development. Only that the path starts with test engineering topics because Max is a Java developer. Max has no testing skills. Yeah. And from the web UI test automation development stuff, yeah, he do not need the Java programming learning element because he's a Java developer. He knows everything about Java. Yeah, as you can see, the same goal, the same journey, but another part. And now the question. 6 months later, Max should also automate API tests with Java. What would be the learning path? Yes, Max needs only test automation adapters for API and test automation development for API. That's all. Not more, not less. I guess you know now what is a learning path and what is a learning journey. And now I show you an example with a learning sprint where the learner is supported by a learning guide. Of course, as I said, the learner could also execute the learning sprint without the learning guide. But to bring the concept of these learning guides closer to you, we will do this example with a learning guide. So what is a learning guide? A learning guide supports the learners, the students individually in their learning process. In addition, the guide supports the organization with the implementation of this new learning approach and is an ambassador for a deeper understanding of Agile learning. As an example, currently, together with 2 other learning guides, I support 8 of our network units to implement this Agile learning approach. And as an ambassador, I also join other meetups and tell them how we are organized our learning. What's going on? Yes. So, how the learning guide helps. The learning guide helps the learner in the planning phase of a sprint, of a learning sprint, to choose realistic goals. The learning guide provides assistance in setting clear, precise goals and to formulate these goals. And the learning guide ensures the provision of learning content that fits the defined learning objectives, but also the individual learning behavior and the needs of the learner. So if it is necessary, it could be that the learning guide is also organizing special learning formats such as job shadowing and coping groups and so on. The learning guide will be supported by a learning expert who are the specialists for a given topic. To make it clear, the learning guide does not act as a staff or a line manager who tells the learner what she or he has to do. The learner is driving the learning sprint in a self-organized, self-paced way. So in the first step, the learning guide discusses the performance problem with the learner, the learning budget in hours per week, and other details that provide the boundaries for the learning sprint. And the outcome of this task is the learning epic. That is the strategic goal of the learner that we document in form of a learning epic. For Diana, the learning epic could be following. As a manual tester with no development skills and no test automation skills, with a learning budget of 8 hours per week, I want to be mature to develop basic automated tests in Java for Angular in order to create automated tests. As you can see, we define what are the current skills. So that means where we stand. We define the expected outcome, the goal, the impact, and we define how the impact should be visible. And we are using this format to make the impact measurable, to make it clear what is expected. In the second step, the learning guide selects together with the learner the learning elements based on the learning journey from our learning portfolio and defines the learning path, which is stored in the learning backlog. And our learning portfolio is currently an Excel sheet with around 500 learning elements grouped by learning topics, subtopics, and learning packages. And this portfolio will be maintained and reviewed by our learning guides and our learning experts. So what you can see here, the first thing is the learning package. What is this package all about? Then here you see the title of the learning elements, and if it is selected for the backlog or not, and in which sprint it will be executed. Then, of course, the link to the content, the most important information, and then what are the costs and what are the effort. So I can tell you this learning portfolio is our holy grail for learning test automation, and this is my source of truth. So as an example here, you can see a real learning backlog from a Python developer in one of our data warehouse teams. And after sprint number 1, this colleague was able to implement the first automated tests based on the test automation strategy that he also developed in sprint 1. And if you take a look at the last line, and the costs were 20 euros, because for an Udemy training and so on. Back to the learning sprint. Once the learning path is defined, the next step is to agree on transfer tasks. Transfer tasks are an important concept and the key to learning in the workplace. And for this purpose, given tasks from the project and from the daily work are defined, in which the newly learned competencies are used. Transfer tasks guarantee that the learner applies the new skills directly in everyday's life and that the learning has a value for the team. This is pure learning by doing, creating impact within the team. Remember the 70-20-10 model. And this approach ensures that learning has an immediate impact to the team. And this is why our delivery leads, scrum masters, and product owner likes if the people learn in this way. So, and then after the planning, the self-directed learning phase, the learning sprint begins, in which the goal is to implement the transfer tasks after working on the learning elements. And it is important to say, the goal is not to watch the learning videos and do the courses and so on and read the books. The goal is to deliver the transfer tasks with or without the help of the course. During the learning sprint, the learner acts on his own. which does not mean that he or she is on his own. Yeah, he or she works on the learning elements and the transfer tasks, discuss the idea with colleagues, yeah, maybe with the learning experts, and maybe takes part in learning communities. In any case, the learning guide and the learning expert are always available during the sprint to help if necessary. But the learning guide and the learning expert tell the learner what she or he has to do. And then, of course, at the end of a learning sprint, the learner presents the achievements from the learning sprint. It's the same as we are doing in a development sprint. And here the feedback from the team, because it will present it to the team. Yeah, the feedback from the team could then influence the next learning sprint. You can see we also live this agile mindset in learning. Inspect and adapt. As you can see, learning on demand, just in time, learning what has an impact on the team. And then the last step in a learning sprint is the sprint retrospective. And of course, we have the usual questions. What went well in your learning sprint? What went wrong? What we must improve? But we have an additional question. And this is the most important one. And this is, have you learned something new that you can use in your daily work? And if the answer from the learner is no, then we must adjust the learning content. We must think about, yeah, maybe we select another goal, maybe we select other learning elements. So that was our journey to bring an agile learning approach to RBI. Now let's talk about lessons learned, what we have learned. The first thing is one size fits all. In agile learning, the aim is to give the learner as much freedom and autonomy for the learning process. And here we recognize not each type of learning approach works for each learner. And therefore, we offering these different learning formats. And this is our key to success. Remember, we have the Go ID Academy, yeah, we have our learning management system, and so on. Yeah, and every person, yeah, every employee, every colleague can select, yeah, what is the best for him or her. Then metacognitive skills. Yeah, so we talk about self-organized learning. And agile learning combines this self-organization and this self-directed learning. And this requires special metacognitive skills and competencies, since here, with this approach, the learner has to take on tasks that in the old way of learning were taken over by teachers, managers, leaders, professors, or lecturers, and so on. We have seen that one of the biggest challenges is that the majority of the learner fails in organizing their learning process on their own. And the third thing is this dedicated learning time. No matter how much you embrace or reward skills development, if your team members feels like they don't have the time to develop these new skills, they are not going to do it. So encourage the learner to block out specific time to concentrate on skill development. We found out that that is the best solution to block dedicated learning time in the personal calendar. As an example, my dedicated learning time, I have defined every Friday from 7 o'clock in the morning until 11 is blocked. And there I do my learning stuff and no other things. So, ladies and gentlemen, I guess the lunchbox is done. We have reached the last slide. Please feel free to contact me via LinkedIn if you have any additional question or if you would like to talk to me in general. And as I said, today in the evening, we have the next Testbusters night with awesome speakers. Yeah, I will provide you the registration link afterwards in the chat, and it would be great to see maybe someone from you in the audience. And now we have time for questions. Back to Greg. So let
Excellent.
me, perfect. So
Thank you. And that was excellent, Rudolf. Thank you very much for presenting that today. I think there was a huge amount of insight for me personally, and I hope for the people on the call today, there was a lot to take away from that. We will open for questions. I think, as we've said to the attendees, if you've got any questions, please put them in the Q&A channel, in the chat channel. We can pick those up. I'll firstly open to my other committee members. Is there any questions that?
Yes, I've got one for Rudolf. Really enjoyed that. That was very good. I've seen elements of that in various learning systems, but I've never seen it strung together in such a coherent way. That was very good. Considering you mentioned certification several times there, do you think that the need for certification is now dead and gone, or do we still need certification?
no, I do not say that we do not need certification. I'm a fan of certification. The thing is, yeah, so if you're going for the certification to have the certificate, yeah, or if you're going for the certification, yeah, so because you that you're going for the certification, yeah, because yeah, you have all these things to learn in a given way, yeah. So I can tell you that we offer in our learning excels, yeah, we also offer ISTQB learning sessions, yeah, but we do this in this way, yeah, that the people are learning via a Udemy course, yeah, and yeah, in the beginning, in the same way, we define transfer tasks, yeah, which they, yeah, so bring into their daily learning, and we see a lot of impact there, yeah, with bringing, I would say, new people, yeah, we have a lot of really new people in our teams who have, I would say, no idea about testing, and then yeah, it is a good way, yeah, to get this basic understanding. So what is equivalence partitioning, what is a decision table, and so on, yeah. That means yes, certifications are for me personal valuable.
Excellent. We have some questions on the chat channel now, which is great. So firstly from Beth Marshall, who says, fantastic talk, Rudolf, absolutely loved it. The question is, what are the biggest learner wins you are most proud of from this approach?
Okay, first I want to say hi Beth, nice to see you again, and I see you again today in the evening, and I'm really thrilled to looking forward to your talk. So what are the biggest learning wins? Yeah, so of course we have seen, yeah, the biggest learning wins is that we immediately see that we have a feedback, that we have impact to our teams. What we have seen in the past is, yeah, there is a colleague who is going to a training, yeah, for 5 days, yeah, and then he come back, yeah, and you know how it works. Immediately you have to start your work and so on. You cannot apply it, yeah, and then all the people say, so why this training was organized and so on, yeah. How we are doing it currently is, as I said, yeah, you learn this on your own path. You are watching a YouTube video, you are watching a test automation university training, yeah, and you implement it immediately, yeah, into your daily work, and you support your team in their daily work. You have immediate impact to the team, and it brings value, of course, to the product owner. So, and most proud of from this approach, yes. So, of course, for instance, yeah. So currently, I'm supporting 5 junior testers in Romania, yeah, and within 6 months, yeah, they moved, yeah, from this junior tester, yeah, which comes from another discipline, yeah, via ISTQB trainings, yeah, into this to the skills, yeah, that they now are sitting together with the team in the daily in the desk planning sessions, yeah, and they are asking the right questions. They know what they are talking about, yeah. So this is I'm really proud of that, yeah. And because, yeah, so you can imagine this is also what I say is very helpful, yeah. Instead of paying 2,000 euros for an education like that, yeah, we use 20 euros for the Udemy training, and then of course the time for the learning stuff.
Excellent. So we have a question from Nigel Robotham, which is, if you do not have a learning repository for the courses, how would you advise creating one?
I can tell you how I started. Yeah, I started with I found a great YouTube video. Yeah, then I store the the link. Yeah, and always, yeah, if I find something in my in my Twitter universe, in my LinkedIn universe, and so on. Yeah, yeah. When I see greater article, blog posts, and so on, immediately, yeah, I put it to the Excel sheet, yeah, mark it with new, yeah, yeah. Then my colleagues are reviewing it, yeah, and this is how we create uh, our repository, yeah. And I can give you an advice, yeah. So start with the test automation, with the Apptools Test Automation University, yeah. Awesome talks, yeah, awesome trainings, yeah, and zero costs, and that's awesome.
Excellent. I think there's HR managers around this course cheering for you, Rudolf, with the low cost of these courses. That's excellent. The next question, which we've seen from 2 or 3 people, is around how do you get the buy-in from the product owners and scrum masters in the team to allow the training work to happen?
Yes, and this is the difference, yeah. If the people are going for training because they are going for the training, or they're going for the training, or what does it mean going for the training? Yeah, so read articles, yeah, do something valuable for their work, yeah. And I remember the first time when I was sitting together with Scrum Master and a product owner, yeah, and I told them, okay, and now let's create transfer tasks, yeah, from your backlog. Yeah, they said, so, oh wow, great, yeah. So that means this is learning which doesn't cost anything, because, yeah, as I said, there's Automation University, yeah, and immediately it goes into my as a valuable part in my product.
Excellent. And I think a couple of interesting questions again around who in the team is facilitating the ceremonies to drive the learning sprint. Almost feels like would become a job in itself.
Sorry, I'm searching for this.
From Rebecca Sturck.
Rebecca. Ah, okay. Who is the team is to drive the learning? Yes. So the team is not facilitating these learning ceremonies. Yeah, this learning sprint, yeah, is more between uh, the learnees, the learning expert, and the learning guide. Yeah, but of course, in the beginning, yeah, there is more or less a match, yeah, with the development sprint, what they need, because, yeah, we have to define the transfer tasks, yeah, and then at the end, yeah, you have this this learning review, yeah, and there more or less I work together with the Scrum Master, yeah, to arrange and then this learning review, yeah, is then part of the normal development review. Yes.
Okay, great. I think one final question. The floor is...
Sorry. One,
Sure.
there is other thing. So because Rebecca asked, this feels like that would become a job in itself. Yes. So this learning guide, more or less, this is people support. This is people support. This is not so, oh, yes, I send you some Excel sheet and then go and do it on your own and so on. Yeah. So we in RBI currently in our team, yeah, we are 5 learning guides who takes care to support our people in development. Yes, it is work, but I do not for 100%.
I think the final question that was quite unique was from Tina Lever for how long did it take to implement and see results from this learning structure?
How long did it take to implement to see results from the learning structure? So, I would say in the after 2 months we had the first the first results. Yeah, of course. Yeah. So for me, I prepared all the stuff and so on. Yeah. But then when I started with my first colleague, yeah, and the nice thing is, yeah, I started with this colleague 3 years ago, and now this colleague is sitting next to me. Yeah, it's one of my colleagues who is also now acting as a learning guide. And when I go back and think about when we started, so yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. So and I can tell you, yeah. So after the first sprint, yeah, I have seen immediately impact and a result. And I remember after the third sprint, yeah, this person, yeah, supported the first time another team with small activities, learning activities.
Wow, that's amazing. Excellent. Maybe just any final questions from other committee members?
So one quick question from me, Rudolf. Are you happy for this idea to be embraced and adopted widely in the industry? Is it copyrighted? Do you want to hold on to the IP on this concept itself, or is it open for learning and implementation?
This concept comes not from me. Yeah. So I can tell you how this starts. Yeah. I have in my daily stream. Yeah. I have seen from a company in Germany, from the Quality Minds. Yeah. An offer about being a learning guide, and I thought, wow, this would be great. I would like to do it. And then, yeah, I called Vera. This is one of the I think she's the CEO. I discussed this with her and so on, and then she immediately started. So, hey, Rudolf, let's start with a learning sprint for yourself, that you learn how to do these learning sprints, how to be a learning Agile learning guide. Yeah. And this was the start for me. And I have to say, yeah, this comes from the Quality Minds. Yeah. And it is awesome. Yeah. And I'm proud how we brought this into our company and how we adapt this. Yeah. We created also our workplace academy, yeah, where you can select some of these from our learning repository, which you have seen. Yeah, you can also select and do this on your own way without a learning guide. And here I'm also be proud because last week, yeah, I got the information that two learners, yeah, from a team also started with test automation and have automated their first test cases, but not test cases automated for Google search or something like that. This hello world test automation stuff. No, created test automation for their product. And this is awesome. So yes, I'm proud of this, but as I said, the Agile learning guide approach comes from the quality minds.
That's it. Thank you.
Excellent. Any further questions? No. Well, firstly, thank you, Rudolf. Thanks for your time. Thanks for the presentation. That was outstanding. So really great that you shared that today. So
it was a pleasure.
Thank you. So just finally today is just to say thanks to all our attendees. We've got a couple of announcements to kind of make for Scottish Testing Group as well. So David, if you're okay to move us on one slide, if that's all right. So we are very much delighted to announce that we will have Janet Gregory with us in the summer in Edinburgh. So it'll be an in-person event, which we're just absolutely thrilled to have Janet come to one of our Scottish Testing Group events, and she will be presenting on charting your quality journey, which it relates to a new book that Janet has published, and also a process around QPAM, which basically is a way of not assessing maturity models as such, but looking at teams and how they're implementing testing and Agile, and getting a view of how they can improve as part of their delivery. So very much tied into what Rudolf has presented today, a way for teams to evaluate and evolve and effectively have benefits for their team. So that really will be an excellent event, which, as I say, will be in person, and the tickets for that will be going on Eventbrite, I believe, to attend that. So watch out for that. We'll get those links shared via LinkedIn and all the other platforms we promote on. So I think I've covered. Is there anything anybody wants to add to that event that I've missed? Soumya, David?
No, you've covered it. You've covered it well, Greg. We will get the comms out as soon as possible on it and get the tickets open.
Excellent. And one final announcement, which is on our third slide. Excellent. Thanks, David. So we're delighted to also have a podcast coming out in the near future as well. So as you can see, it's very much got the Scottish branding on that in terms of the Scottish Testing Group Quality Blever. So this will be a great opportunity for us to have guests and also talk about quality and testing as a group as well. And I think it should be great, and a lot of insights on that we're hoping to get out of that in the coming months. So yep, obviously podcasts are something that people can listen to on the go, part of their work. So it just gives us another great opportunity to kind of promote and share learning and experiences from, as I say, testing quality assurance. Perfect. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Rudolf, again. Thank you, everyone on the committee, and thank everybody for attending today. I think First Lunch and Learn was a great success, and a lot of that's down to the committee and yourself, Rudolf, for what you brought today. That was just great stuff that I hope we can all take away and apply in our daily work going forward as well. So thank you again, and thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Cheers. Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. I'll end the webinar, but thank you very much, Rudolf. Thoroughly enjoyed that, and yeah, look forward to hopefully speaking to you again soon.
Yes, every time. So if you have any questions, because you want also to implement it in your company, in your team, and so on, so you can call me, and